Friends, it is a dark moment in U.S. history, in world history. We got our new flag up, the UK. We want to make sure that we are reminded of what's going on over there. We'll be swapping out these flags over here to remind us of different things happening in the world. But we have prophecy about to unfold or be forced in the Middle East. And whether you believe the prophecy or not, whether you believe these things or not, I'll tell you what, when 2 billion people suddenly perk up and go, the what? They're doing what? You're going to want to be aware of what's going on. And when I say 2 billion people, I promise you I'm not exaggerating. So we got that going on. We got the United States arming the Saudis. And we'll talk about the reason why that's a big problem. It's a problem that everybody kind of agrees with, and we're just going to compromise that and throw that out the window. We got to talk about Iran and their influence operations here. They're now being confirmed by even the most unlikely of sources. We got a lot to talk about, friends. There's a lot happening under the surface here. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade. And we do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people who have retirement accounts get over into something more stable, something that you can hold. And some people are like, why are you promoting these things? Because I think that if you're holding stocks and bonds, promises of stocks and bonds, it's a lot worse than having physical metal, at least in a vault. That's my personal opinion. And if you agree with me and you're like, that makes sense, you might want to talk to Jonathan and his team over there. If not, I mean, hey, we're all adults here, aren't we? All right, so let's jump into this. Let's start off with this prophecy. All right, so we'll throw this up on the screen here, shall we? Now, that gold dome in the background, that is the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount. Now, that's a cardboard cutout of a red cow, a mostly red cow. They couldn't get a cardboard cutout of a completely red cow, but they have red cows. What is going on here? Towards Tisha B'Av, I don't know how to pronounce that. Temple worshippers are now practicing, this is a translation from the Hebrew, the mitzvah of a red cow in front of the Temple Mount. So basically this is, I believe on the Mount of Olives is where they're supposed to do this. So if you crack open your Bible, you'll find that this ritual is actually laid out for the Levites to do in order to purify the tabernacle and the priests and all of the people of Israel before they can enter into this covenant with God. So it's kind of a big deal. There has been, amongst Orthodox Jews and a lot of other Jews, that basically the idea is they've been told not to go onto the Temple Mount until they've been purified. And the only way to get purified is by a red heifer, sacrifice, sprinkling, all that kind of stuff. So that needs to happen before, basically, they're even supposed to be on the Temple Mount. So this is kind of a big deal. Now, I know there's some Jewish circles that are like, we don't care about that kind of stuff. And there's other circles that are like, well, that's not really technically necessary or whatever. We can just build the temple without actually going through all the mumbo jumbo of the Old Testament or the Torah. But if you're a Torah observant Jew, it's there. It's right there. And for all Christians, it's right there too. And for Muslims who can read, it's there as well. So suddenly you got the Jews, Christians, and Muslims all going, wait, you're about to do what? To put a different spin on it, a more Muslim spin on it, Israelis practicing red heifer ritual in front of Al-Aqsa Mosque. They just leave that out, that it's like the Temple Mount, and just be like, they're trying to provoke the mosque. But they're practicing for this ceremony. They have the red heifers there in Israel. They've gone through the 3 years of testing or whatever to make sure that they don't sprout. And, just in case people pulled out the white hairs, it's time enough for their hairs to regrow. So they're confirmed that They could just march it up there and do the ceremony. In this one, some religious groups believe the ashes of the cows can be used to build a third Jewish temple in Jerusalem. Like I said, it's in the Bible, okay? In the Torah, in the Tanakh, or the Old Testament. And that is, and so everyone's kind of like, they know what this means. The Muslims do not, like if this happens, I promise you, the Muslims in the West Bank and a lot of Arab countries are going to lose their minds. Lose their minds. Speaking of Arabs losing their minds, senior officials of the Biden administration have briefed several key congressional lawmakers on their decision to lift the 2016 ban set by then-President Barack Obama on the offensive arms sales to Saudi Arabia. Okay, well, we're selling weapons to somebody. Remember, this is the same Saudi Arabia that is switching teams. Like, they're in the middle of like, hey, you know, Team America is not so cool anymore. We want to be on Brics team. They're trying to join Brics. They're like, dollar's totally stupid. Let's stop doing the dollar. They're getting off the petrodollar. They're like at the epicenter of stabbing us in the back. And the Biden administration is like, hey, why don't we sell them advanced weaponry? Advanced weaponry that we do not want our enemies to have. Notice that this was a ban put in place by Barack Obama. What were the Saudis doing with American weapons that had us concerned? Well, they were carpet bombing Houthi civilians. They were carpet bombing civilian population centers. They weren't like, oh, there's terrorists there, let's attack the terrorists and try to minimize civilian casualties. No, they're like, this is where all the people are, let's just drop a whole bunch of bombs there. And everybody was horrified by this. Like, the warmongers in the United States were like, that's too much. You just went off the cliff. You went crazy. We can't keep selling you the weapons platforms that you're using to massacre civilians intentionally. So, the Biden administration, however, is like, the old guy's asleep. Let's just change the rule. Of course, notice it doesn't say Joe Biden did this. It says the Biden administration. What does that even mean these days? Can we put a name on this? If we're going to, like, be part of genocide, like, could we, like, you know, at least put a name on it? No, that's asking too much these days because it's an election year. All right. Speaking of, election year. This is from Microsoft. Microsoft Threat Intelligence. All right. So I'm not sure if this is affiliated directly with Microsoft, but it's from Microsoft blogs, so I think it is. The Microsoft Threat Analysis Center, which apparently is Microsoft, shares intelligence about Iranian actors laying the groundwork for influence operations aimed at U.S. audiences and potentially seeking to impact the 2024 U.S. presidential election. By the end of this thing, we got a number of big things that we need to drop still. We're going to get to the UK, right? And how they want to arrest Elon Musk in the United States first. It's absolutely insane. But this is Microsoft saying that Iran is trying to influence the U.S. presidential election in 2024. Now, is there anyone out there going to try to spin this like they're trying to elect Trump? Like, you can't sell that one. That's just, we all know who they want in office. They want Harris. They want Harris. They can deal with Harris. They don't want to deal with Trump. Why? Because Trump won't let them get away with all the stuff they're doing. This is after they sent 2 assassination teams to the United States, right? All this is coming out. Now, apparently neither one of their teams is the one actually, well, to the best of our knowledge, because there's somebody that took a shot that we don't know about who they were, right? So Iran is clearly very much in the pro-Harris camp, okay? And very much in the anti-Trump camp. And this is coming from Microsoft, who is very much in the anti-Trump camp. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Speaking of absolutely crazy, let's go over to the UK, where we are in mourning with the people of the UK, their loss of all freedoms and ability to use Facebook and such. Man jailed in UK for commenting on a Facebook post. Who here has commented on a Facebook post? I see you guys in the comments down below. You're like, I got put in timeout for 7 days, I'm back. Or I got put in timeout for the last 2 days, I'm back. So I think it's a fair assessment to say that a fair number of you guys know exactly what this is all about. You make a comment, maybe it was a little over the edge. Maybe. It was a comment, you were joking or used a keyword that you shouldn't have. You know, you didn't say anything real bad, but you used a keyword or something. This guy, 31-year-old Billy Thompson, typed in filthy, bass, and then the rest of that word, on a post about the police using too much force to disperse protests. That's what he typed into Facebook. He has been sentenced to prison for 12 weeks. Right? 3 months. 3 months of prison for typing the words filthy bass on Facebook. We don't sentence people that long time for, using that, right? And if you're of certain ethnicities and stuff like that, you can do worse than that. And that's horrifying, okay? That's horrifying. Are you ready to get the next shoe that's about to drop here? This is the next shoe that dropped. When did the protests happen? They've all happened in the last week. This dude has already had his trial. He's been arrested. They came to his house, arrested him. He's already had his trial. He's already convicted. In less than a week. Tell me they haven't gone full Gestapo mode. And this isn't it yet. They're not even done yet. We're going to go even further. They have decided that they are going to start threatening Americans, not in the UK. These guys, Americans, not in the UK, but Americans in America, for posting things that they don't like. What happens if you posted something on one of these videos that they pick up on? And then they tell the United States government that they want to charge you with a crime over in the UK. And they're telling the United States government to arrest you. This happens like if you went over to like the UK and you like killed somebody or something like that, and you fled to America, and then the Brits are like, hey, so-and-so did this, and we need to charge him with a crime. The United States police will arrest you, put you on a plane, extradite you to the United Kingdom, where you would then stand trial, and summarily in a week or so probably get convicted of whatever you were accused of. I mean, they don't accuse people unless they're guilty. There is no presumed innocence in the UK. So friends, we're not talking about some like hypothetical here. They are literally saying that they want to charge Americans, they want to charge people in other countries for making social media posts. Posts like I've made on this channel. If you if you put up any imagery, if you put up any video from those protests, you're guilty. What has happened here on this channel? We've done that. I've done that. According to their law, they could get the police in the United States to arrest me and extradite me to the UK. To which I say, that is insane. That is full Gestapo. Okay? Iran is bad. But Iran's not trying to arrest us in the United States. And they won't get the United States government to arrest us and deport us to Iran. But you know what? The UK may pull that off. With this administration and the administration they want to install after it, just maybe. They specifically asked him, the guy talking about this stuff, about, what about Elon Musk? And he said, I won't rule that out. Is Elon Musk still the richest guy in the world? He's either like the richest or one of, right? He's up there. It goes back and forth sometimes. They want to arrest the richest person in the world, the UK American, who has all sorts of classified information on rockets and missiles and everything like that in his head. And the UK wants to extradite him to the UK so they can charge him for posting mean things. And so his platform allowed his platform to post mean things that upset some Muslims in the UK. Are you seeing where this is going, friends? What they're doing there, they want to do here. Moving on. We just hit $35 trillion of debt, federal debt, and we're not talking about states and local. Heaven forbid we talk about that too. Just federal debt from our government, $35 trillion. And by the time we hit the election, we're going to hit $36 trillion. We're a freight train that's gone clear off the tracks, and we're halfway down to the canyon floor. Is there any pulling back from this absolute train wreck of a crash that we're about to... Let me just put this in this words. This coming year, we're going to spend $1.5 trillion just on the interest. Just on the interest. Now, you'll be here, trillion, what does that even mean? 30% of all the revenue that the federal government is going to take in this coming year, assuming there's no recession or depression, assuming that tax revenues don't drop in any way, shape, or form, assuming that 30% of all the money that the federal government gets, including Social Security money, including Medicare money, all that, 30% of it is going to go just to interest. That's insane. That's not paying back. That's just paying the interest on it. And because we couldn't not go there, Facebook, which is so proud of the man who won the women's events over in the Olympics, well, it has banned anyone using the hashtag XX. All the women who trying to speak out about any of this, the women that don't like the idea, they're complaining about men taking over their sports. If they want to do that, if they want to complain about that, Facebook is going to shut them down. I think Facebook should move its headquarters over to this country over here because apparently they're in line with that government's whole line of thinking, which is weird because weren't we just seeing the head of Facebook saying he kind of backs Trump now, which it's like, what? And that's not even talking about some of the stuff that's been coming out on Twitter. Apparently, employees in Twitter have been using backdoor access to the code to insert all sorts of shadow banning in the system against conservatives and, well, just basically anyone who's not a radical leftist. And Elon Musk has been alerted to this. Some people found some ways to get Grok, the AI, on Twitter to read through its own code and tell them what kind of flags and tags have been put on everybody's accounts. And so people have been doing this, and they've been like, wow, I'm being flagged with all this stuff. Why is that still in the code? Good questions why it's still in the code, and Elon Musk has been alerted to that. Elon Musk is going to be interviewing Donald Trump on Monday. That could get interesting. All sorts of crazy stuff happening out there in the world, friends. We are at a dark moment, as I said, and we need to pull back. Some way, somehow, we need to pull back from the plunge, because if we don't, we're about to go into the dark. And now is the time for courage. Friends, I don't like the idea, as I've said, that some of the things I've done in the past week could get me arrested in the UK. And that's concerning, that they could theoretically get me arrested here in this country and extradited to the UK. But now is not a moment for shrinking back, friends. If we don't speak now, let us forever hold our peace. If we don't act now, let us forever hold our peace. We need to take political action while we still have political options available. I know some of you guys don't believe that we have any political options available anymore, and you may be right. You may be right. With some of the shenanigans happening out there, you may be right. But while we still have the illusion, at least, of political methods of pulling back, we should try with all of our might to use them. And if that fails, then we have to have another conversation. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Because either we need to go quietly into servitude, or we need to rise with courage. What does that all mean? There's lots of channels here on YouTube. There's lots of people talking. There's a lot of people soberly thinking through what happens next. In the UK, options are very limited. Very limited. And we need to take that warning seriously, lest we here in the United States and you folks up there in Canada end up in the situation that the UK is in now. The situation is getting direr by the day, and we need to take some serious reflection, and we need to start taking some practical steps of preparation. We've been talking about that a lot on this channel. The basic things that you need to start with, if you're not there already, with stocking up on food, stocking up on brass and lead, stocking up on basic things, communications, drones. If you're not doing that, don't even talk to me about what you think somebody ought to do. If you're not taking that action, those basic steps of preparation, of getting your household in order, before you start talking to me about someone else's household, before you tell me about, oh, the truckers should go do this, or those people over there should do that. What are you doing? You have ownership of you. I have ownership of me. I've got my house in order, and I'm trying to do what I can on the internets. And it's getting more difficult to know how far we can go, how far we should go in certain contexts, certain platforms. Friends, it's time for us to circle the wagons and to have some conversations. We need to do the elbow grease work we can right now to avoid what's coming, or we need to start preparing to brace ourselves through what's coming. All right, friends, so glad to have you guys with us in this channel. I hope I didn't freak you out by going a little too deep and dark this Saturday morning, but those are true words that you need to hear. If you're not hearing from me, there's a bunch of other people talking about them too, okay? We need to realize where we are. It's a time for courage. Time for courage. All right, friends, if you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what you can do with your IRA or your 401k to get that a little more stable, there's a link right there. Thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report.